Okay, so we've got BYO, we've got MDR processes. Are there any guiding principles for this?
Well, there certainly are. And what I can do today is give you an outline of those. I think one of the first things is particularly when you're dealing with industries or large organisations or repeat players in disputes, is to try and build in preventative conflict resolution methods. So, for example, regular meetings with facilitators and formal processes to identify early concerns. And if you think of some of the MDR clauses that are used in big construction projects, for example, constructions of airports or other major constructions, they will often have these type of preventative elements in the clause. So start with prevention, it's always best. Yeah. Then that's the first principle. The second one is sequence your ADR processes from facilitative through to advisory, and then as a last option, determinative. Right. Now, this is a general rule. We've seen also that sometimes you might have ARB-MED or ARB-MED-ARB, and there are reasons for this. But as a general principle, you move from interest-based through eventually to rights-based, determinative. Typically, interest-based processes are also cheaper, so you're also moving from less expensive to more expensive, which is a good way to go. And you're also moving from less formal, typically, to more formal. Okay. And those transitions are easier than the other way around. So there's some general principles. And I think the last thing I would say in general is that it's important as you move through an MDR process to provide loop forward mechanisms and loop back mechanisms. Okay. So that means that if parties are in mediation and you've got a 3-tiered process, but everybody agrees they actually want to jump right to the end and go into arbitration, they should be allowed to do that. Yeah. If the circumstances are appropriate. And equally, if they're in arbitration, but there's an opportunity now to try and negotiate again, that they should be able to go loop back to mediation, that they just don't get stuck in the structure that's been set up for them. So those looping mechanisms are important. You see this done nicely in, for example, the National Electricity Scheme in Singapore. They've got a very interesting dispute resolution process using negotiation, mediation, and arbitration with very nice looping mechanisms also. And you'll often find it in many I'm thinking of Singapore and Hong Kong in particular, because that's where I've been most recently, in the financial dispute resolution centres work that exists there, in both of those jurisdictions.